That's also true. When you say it that way, I'm like, yeah, you're right. It actually doesn't. Okay, here we go.
We are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, just like winter.
New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 611, which is coincidentally the same amount of points the Knicks lost by yesterday.
I was thinking for the opening theme, Jay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're going to talk about the game in a second, but I was thinking I like what you have, but I was thinking maybe you could take a bunch of clips of famous from movies or wherever of people crying and just weave them together, and we can have a nice montage of crying to reflect how I feel right now.
I mean, I don't want to overreact to one game.
I do. Aren't we? Is the entire point of this episode to overreact? I
mean,
I said this on Twitter earlier. After game one, I kind of had that, oh my God, this team is awesome. Hey, we can get past Cleveland. We can get Milwaukee. Giannis is injured. Maybe we'll get the ball. Maybe this is the year we're going to make an improbable run to the final. This could be our year. And then after last night, my reaction is, I don't think I ever want to watch a basketball game again.
Yeah. So people were bringing out brooms after game one, and I was like, please don't do that. And then now after that, they lost game two. People were like breaking out the trade machine. I'm like, can we just be rational for a minute? The
Knicks offense tripped over those brooms.
Let's just dig right into it. The Knicks got.
Did you know that? I saw this on Twitter. AG1 Knicks posted the Knicks starting five shooting percentages in the 2022-23 playoffs so far. Mitch is 60%, Randall's 37%, RJ 24%, Grimes 16%, Brunson 39%.
And I think you missed RJ, who's 24%.
Did I not say RJ?
And
I said RJ.
And IQ is just as bad.
I was going with the starters, but no one gets you. Everyone sucked last night. It was goddamn brutal.
It was just usually like somebody plays good and you're like, oh, they wasted so-and-so's good game. Not one. You could say like maybe Obi had an all right game. Everyone else was just terrible.
To dig. So I asked on our different social media platforms what adjustments should the Knicks make for game three?
Yeah.
And I thought some of them were just interesting to read. New York, the NYK process writes, trust each other, move the ball more, and just rise to the occasion. Time to go to war. That sounds pretty good, right?
Definitely needed more ball movement.
Yeah. PD, and we can get more into it, but PD T dot B dot wrote, don't play Barrett.
Well, that's also what Stephen A. Smith said.
Sean writes, let me give you more. Sean writes, literally just don't do the second quarter again. Also need somebody to hit that hit more than one 3-pointer besides Randall. Anybody. Josh writes, not passing to Cleveland should be high on the list. Oscar writes, ball movement, take care of the ball, and definitely be more physical. We got bullied last night. One comment, which I don't have here, but I saw on Reddit, someone said, the Knicks weren't so bad last night. All they need to work on is passing, shooting, rebounding, scoring, 3-point shooting, everything that goes into playing basketball. But other than that, we're good.
It was really just the second quarter. I mean, if you take the other three quarters combined, it was a wash.
I don't know. On points total wise, I guess it's probably around that.
No, it was dead even if you add up the other three quarters.
Okay, Cleveland kind of let the Knicks get back into it. Not get back in. Cleveland could have won by 30. They won by 17. They outside of Jared Allen trying to murder Julius Randle. Generally, Cleveland did not. They kind of let the foot there. They didn't try. They let the Knicks score some extra points in the fourth quarter.
True. True.
when the game was kind of over already.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the game is over in the second quarter.
So certain things. So first, apparently double teaming Brunson is a great strategy.
I'm a little concerned about that because you could say the turnovers, the Knicks aren't usually that sloppy with the ball. They missed like an abnormal amount of shots. Everybody missed shots, so that probably won't happen again. The double teaming Brunson, I feel like the Cavs will do again. And
I mean, why would you not?
Yeah, it seemed to really just the Knicks were like, I don't know what to do with this.
I mean, Brunson seemed to come out, and he did this in game one also to a certain extent, was like, he's a point guard, and any point guard should, I love Brunson, but any point guard should come out there and go, my first goal is to get my teammates involved, and then I'll get mine. Brunson seemed to have this kind of attitude of like, I need to score first, and then I'll start passing. And Cleveland was like, we're going to double team you. And Brunson's like, well, I don't want to give up the ball. And they're like, well, you're being double teamed. You have to give up the ball. And he was trying to fight through the doubles, and it was not going to work.
Well, that a lot of Randall, RJ, they have to, when they get doubled, they have to be quicker with making a decision. And that decision should be to pass the ball, because if you're getting doubled, that means somebody's open.
Multiple occasions early in the game, Brunson was doubled and tried to basically not pass the ball. You got to pass the ball right away. You got to beat that double team. Very frustrating, to say the least.
It was like we were on such a high after the first game.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I didn't expect the Knicks to sweep. So I'm like, all right, they're going to get a couple losses. It will most likely be game 2, but I was hoping for a competitive game 2.
Right. I mean, I guess there are different
8. I would have been like, all right.
Well, there were different ways it could have gone. Like you could have said, like it could have been like that game where Brunson and Mitchell went off, but then maybe Cleveland wins instead. But like everyone's scoring, everyone's hitting their shots, and Cleveland just hits more shots than us, and it is what it is. Or like that was the kind of thing I thought maybe happened, or maybe I don't know. I didn't think what would happen was the Knicks offense would look like just shit, basically.
Well, bright side, the Knicks split in Cleveland, so all they have to do is hold home court now.
Yes, I mean this is the number one thing you want to do when you're the road team is win one of 2 games. The Knicks did that. That is the goal.
Like how I didn't like
game.
in fantasy when it was like winner of the week. You can win by 1 and you can lose by 100, and it's still 1-1.
Right. I mean, I guess like the some more positives last night. Last night only counted for 1 loss.
Yeah.
No matter how bad they played, you didn't get a second loss.
Felt like it should have been more.
Felt like it should be more. So so things. Let's go through some things that were just terrible last night. First,
This
Brunson
segment might be a long segment.
We'll be talking for the next 7 hours.
This might be the rest of the episode.
Brunson was. I will try to not.
I mean, we have to talk about it. Like
the whole show is going to be the
we
episode.
praised them all
game.
last episode.
So Brunson, you obviously feel like he will shoot better. He didn't shoot. He was good, not Brunson level good last game. This game he was terrible. 5 for 17, 1 from 8 for 3. He seemed to get really rattled by Cleveland's defense. The refs, as I kind of praised last time, I was kind of happy with the 90s style refereing. This time it seemed like Cleveland just beat up the Knicks, and the refs were like, "Cool, we're not going to call a lot of stuff till at least the third quarter."
Yeah, I mean, there was that. I'm not blaming the refs because the Knicks had so many turnovers. Like I saw some people saying like, the refs cost the Knicks the game. The Knicks had 17 turnovers, and I mean, so did the Cavs, but I felt like the Cavs scored on all of the Knicks turnovers. It was like the reverse of game 1. The Cavs scored on all of the Knicks turnovers, and also the Knicks just there was 4 or 5 straight plays in the second quarter where they just turned the ball over and over again.
Yeah, I mean the Knicks were at some point they were up early in the first quarter, 12-6 maybe, and then it just went downhill from there. The second quarter was an abomination.
I mean, it was still 25-22 after the first, and Cleveland hit
and there was
last
also like a
second 3.
There was last second 3, so it wasn't like that out of hand. But you could also tell like the Knicks Cleveland seemed to be able to score not that they were scoring at ease, but the Knicks seemed to be struggling to score. by
Yes,
the
it
end
was
of
a
the second
close
quarter.
game, but
Or end of the first quarter.
it did not feel good. It was like, I can't believe we're only down by 3.
Right. And so it seems like basically Cleveland said, we're going to double Brunson, get the ball out of his hands. We're happy to give the ball to Randall. We're going to double him. And we have enough faith that no one else on the court will do shit against us.
Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
Randall, 11 turnovers in 2 games.
holy crap.
He had 6
Um,
yesterday, and he had 5 in game 1. He's got to do better with that. I mean, I understand the Knicks are going up against the number 1 defensive team, but you can't turn the ball over that much. That's like, Westbrook turnover numbers.
He had a couple of turnovers where it was just like, and the team itself did not seem to be on the same page at all. We had a couple turnovers where like he passed the ball where he thought the guy was, and the guy just wasn't there.
I think 3 of the 6 turnovers was that. So
And
were they just not going by set plays? Was Randall just panicking? Like, I don't know what was going on, but it clearly looked like, oh, this guy's supposed to be here. I don't even have to look, but then he wasn't there. So I don't
right
know.
to a certain extent, like I don't know if that's on Randall or the guy is supposed to be there and the guy wasn't there. I don't know. I guess the passer, it's always on the passer, but it was a weird lack of communication.
I mean, the passer has to make sure the guy's there.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
It's probably a combination of both parties'
Yeah.
faults. I mean, they should have been there, and Randall should have looked first.
Yeah. I guess it's obviously more on the passer. Randall, he wasn't great. He'd also only got 1 assist. It wasn't like he was passing the ball that much. He seems to try to it seems like he got he's still in this mode of getting rattled where like he's like, well, it's the playoffs. I've really got to step up my game. And when he tries to force it a little bit, everything's just worse.
Yeah, I mean, also though the Knicks shot 36% for the game, so lack of assists could also be because nobody could hit a shot.
There's no one to pass to. Mitch came out strong. He had a couple, like a block early. I forget who he took the ball like, just out of their hands early in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But he was looking good to begin with. But like, also he kept like just fumbling rebounds. Like the ball, like he'd go for a rebound, offensive rebound, or even a defensive rebound, and he'd almost get it, but not get it. Like almost like those, like when they say 50-50 balls, the Knicks just were not getting any of the 50-50 balls. They kept going to the other team. Like Robinson would hit his hand, but they would just go to the other team.
I feel like an abnormal amount of time Mitch was going up for a rebound against 3 Cavs.
You know what? Also, I want to say there's between Robinson and Robinson couldn't seem to like. That's true. You're right. He couldn't seem to hold on to the ball. You got him the ball. He couldn't seem to like bring the ball up to dunk. And Ihart, so Jalen gave low bounce passes to Ihart twice, which were basically turnovers. Why would you give a low bounce pass to a guy who's 7 feet?
I know. That happened a couple times too.
Yeah, that kind of annoyed. I just wanted to like mention that.
Randall reenacted the Charles Smith play against the Bulls from the
yes. You go.
It was the same thing. It was like Randall block, and I was just like, are we really gonna just reenact the worst moment in Knicks playoff history?
I mean, if you're trying to fake going up and the defense isn't biting, pass the ball out.
Yeah, he was like triple teamed at that point.
RJ sucks. RJ has been god awful. RJ has. You need your third score. He's supposed to be the third best player in this team. He's got to be able to step. I understand everyone played poorly. RJ was terrible in game 1, and he's terrible in game 2. Jay sent me a shot chart where they said the only makes shot RJ has made so far have been right by the basket. Everything else has been like, at least last night, everything else outside of the paint did not go in.
He was 0 for 9 outside the paint and like 4 for 4 in the paint.
And Tibbs always is like, RJ, attack. RJ, attack. Dude, stop doing floaters. Stop doing everything. Just get to the basket. What's the deal with RJ? RJ was the 3rd pick in the draft. Do you remember who the 4th pick in the draft was, Jay? Because he lit us on fire last night.
Yeah. Garland he looked all right. He looked okay.
He looked pretty good. Donovan Mitchell didn't even kill us last night. Donovan Mitchell didn't even he wasn't a huge part of the game last night.
He only took 11 shots, which is not great. Like that this was such an ass kicking without Mitchell going off.
He got 17 points. I would have assumed Donovan Mitchell would get 30 points every game. They didn't really need him because Garland was on fire.
Well, that and Levert went off too.
Levert went off also. That doesn't like. It would be nice if the Knicks had someone on the bench who can go off. I quickly came into the game and I was like, okay, now we're gonna get some good quickly. I have to balance out the bad quickly. He turned the ball off over immediately, and he was just garbage.
He seems
had
like
some
he's
points.
rattled.
Yeah, he came in the fourth quarter. He had a couple points, and like so he shot 4 for 8 from the field. But really, all his points came at the end of the game. He was garbage when it mattered.
Yeah.
Josh Hart, I guess maybe he should have sat out the game.
Somehow
Hart wasn't very.
he like you look at his stats, you're like that's not bad, and then you look at plus minus, and he was a
He was a
minus
negative
29. How?
Yeah, I'm assuming his injury, his ankle injury, affected his game because it's nice to be able to like you're like I'm gonna play, but you can't play if you're just not gonna play as well.
Yeah.
Toppin, I know you like Toppin. I don't think Toppin was all that good either.
No.
Like,
Yeah, I mean,
early in the game when he came in the second or the first quarter, he was. You know what Toppin does that kind of annoys me is if you've ever noticed where he floats like 10 feet behind the 3-point line.
mhm.
Have you seen he'll set like 5 or 6 feet behind the 3-point line, just waiting for I don't know what, like cut to the basket, do something. At least at 3-point line so we can hit you for a 3-pointer, but like he's standing 5 feet, like 5-10 feet out, like not participating in the offense some plays.
Yeah, and then I think Quickly and Toppin didn't look that bad because they got a couple buckets in garbage time.
I mean, their stat lines don't look that bad. They weren't good though.
No, they weren't. They weren't.
Grimes
Grimes has been terrible.
has been terrible. You want to go some questions, Jay?
Yeah, so Rob in the chat says RJ's been so hard to watch. Even if we did want to trade him, what can we even get for him?
I feel like we could save this for the offseason, really.
We have a whole summer for RJ trade talk because that's definitely going to be the hot topic unless he like starts playing well. But
if you're going to say where we're going to upgrade this the number one place to upgrade this roster is RJ.
Well, here's the thing. If he plays well, you're like, okay, we just got him signed to a long contract. Maybe this is a turning point. If he plays bad, you're like, his contract extension didn't even kick in yet. You can't even trade him. So it's like,
no, you can trade. Well, you can trade him. It kicks in next year, so you can't trade him. But like, it's hard to trade him.
You can literally trade him, but like, who the hell is going to be like, oh yeah, I want to get in on that?
I mean, you can just trade him for contracts that just look worse.
You know,
like you were like, hey, I might be able to turn RJ into Trae Young because Atlanta is miserable right now, but you may not want to do that.
Right. It's like, hey, can we get the Knicks' 8th best player? I mean,
Minnesota's like, what? We'll take RJ. Have you heard of Rudy Gobert?
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be another disaster contract.
Yeah. The thing is, it's 4 years. It's a tough. People were like, well, why did Tibbs play RJ so much last night? First, it's not like Grimes or Hart or anyone else played that well to take his minutes. And also, like, it's hard to. He's supposed to be your third best player. It's hard to win without him.
Well, that's the problem. Like, I would say, yeah, play IQ or play Grimes more, but they were absolutely terrible too. Maybe you give McBride some of his minutes and see what happens.
Yeah, you know what happens if you lose the game? I'm sorry, McBride's not the answer. I like McBride. He's not the answer.
I don't know with his defense. Like, the Knicks were getting shredded. Like, maybe he could have slowed down. I mean, he only played 3 minutes, but
he was a +3 in the 3 minutes.
He was a +3.
So you could have put him on. I guess you could have put him on Garland.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They're about the same
Garland.
size. Like, Garland's not a big guy.
Yeah, I mean, you could have tried other things. I'm just saying, like, replacing. Oh, I don't know. Nothing. I guess Barrett was terrible, so you could replace him with anyone, and it wouldn't have mattered. The team lost. In theory, Quickly should be the guy that could take his minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Quickly's been really bad.
That was the plan. The plan was for Quickly to continue his 6th Man of the Year run and do something, and it seems like he's in his own head, and now he's just hanging out at the 3-point line, and like he seems tentative. I think he's rattled.
Do you think Washington says we would love to cut Beal's contract in half Instead of paying 50, we'll pay Barrett 25.
It's possible, especially if they want to re-sign Kuzma and Porzingis. They probably don't want a $50 million contract on top of those.
So how dumb is Washington?
Very. They're very dumb.
This
They're very dumb. But I mean, with signing, Beal has multiple years left at like $50 million a year.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, the Knicks are going to be already over the cap, so I guess like we can just take another bad. I mean, Beal's a good player.
That's the
I mean,
problem.
he's better than Barrett, but like
That's the problem. He's a good player now. He's not a great player anymore. Like they would be getting him on the decline.
the problem also is we didn't draft anyone last year. We apparently not going to get draft anyone this year. You might want to have drafted some young players who might be able to eat into Barrett's minutes.
So all the people that told us that you should not, you didn't need to draft anybody because they're not going to get minutes. This is why you draft players. Some players don't pan out, or some players are just on a cold streak. And what if there was a guy that the Knicks drafted that was playing well, and he was maybe playing 10 minutes a game, and now that other players aren't playing well, he could play 20, 25 minutes, and it would help.
You could 5 minutes. It's not like the Knicks are. They're not the 97 Bulls. You can find minutes on this team. This is not the dream team. And Barrett looked like crap. You might want to have someone on the bench you could put in the game. Okay, let's go to some questions. Just based Knick fan writes, is Dolan a better owner than Cuban? Mark Cuban.
Now, like a year ago, you would say absolutely not.
But Dolan Cuban has let Steve Nash go. He's let Liam Brunson go. He has voluntarily took Kyrie Irving onto his team to do what? I don't know. He's done some not so great moves.
But is he the one doing these moves?
He's giving the sign off.
He's giving the sign off, but
you know what? It's not like he's Steve Ballmer or some other rich owner who you think is completely hands off. Mark Cuban seems like he's pretty into basketball. I feel like he's involved.
I'd still take Cuban over Dolan.
I would too, but it's a conversation.
Yeah,
a short conversation, but a conversation. Yeah, whatever. Right? Why would any non-owned coach put Randall in late in the fourth? And says, I'm leaning towards RJ being a disaster re-signing, but do I need to be convinced otherwise? So Randall, Tibbs said he wanted to take Randall out, and Randall said he wanted to stay in the game to get
a groove going.
Yes. I mean, if you're the coach and one of your best players says, I know we're losing, but we have a game on Friday, and I want to get get in the groove and feel better before get some good practice in.
And the next game is 3 days away. I was very, very angry when the Tibbs didn't pull everybody, but then I read that they asked to stay in to get a groove, so that makes more sense. It's not a terrible example. It's not a terrible reasoning. I mean, the game again, it's not like they're playing back-to-back games. Right. Yeah. The game was Tuesday. The next game's Friday. Like, it's a pretty big break.
Yeah. I mean, I know everyone was like when Randall. So when Allen goes up to block Randall's dunk and knocks him down, everyone's like, "Why is Randall still in the game? What the hell is Tibbs doing? What the hell is Jared Allen doing? The game is over. Why are you trying to murder the other team?"
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was completely uncalled for, unnecessary. It was just. I felt like they felt like they got bullied in game one, and they just wanted to prove how tough they were all game.
And I know what they called a flagrant one on that.
They should.
But it's fine. And then when you put your foot close to the landing area of a guy shooting a three, oh my God, that's a flagrant one. You tried to murder a guy going for a dunk. It should be at least a flagrant two. You should be out of the game.
It is a little strange, but at least he got a flagrant. I'm not too worried just because this game was such a disaster. I feel like it's more of an anomaly. If the Knicks did this again Friday, I'd be worried, but I really feel like there's no way 9 guys are all going to play this bad.
I'm sure the Knicks are all listening to our podcast. Of course. I'm taking my son. I paid way too much for these tickets. Please, oh please, play better. Win the game. and play it better. I can't take my son and have you guys look terrible, please. Um, so as far as whatever writes, he's leaning towards RJ being a disaster resigning.
Look,
The Knicks did what was the Knicks did not have to re-sign Randall when they did, though, and I guess in retrospect it's a positive because they would not have had him for this season. They re-signed RJ a year early. Also, was that a giant mistake?
I'm not going to go giant mistake, but it was a mistake.
So it's not an unreasonable contract. Like the money he's getting paid is he's not getting over the top money.
He's not. They're not getting what he's. They're not getting the value that he's getting paid.
You're paying him 25, you paid him 15, you would say the contract's fine. So like the extra 10 is not the biggest of deals.
No, but
He's
it's
just, like-
definitely an overpay.
Yeah, I mean it's also that like the issue really is not that how much they paid him, it's that they took him number 3 in the draft.
Well, I
Like,
think
this was your big draft pick, and you just like swung and missed.
I think the fact that he got taken number 3 is why people are being extra lenient.
Yes.
I mean, most players by year 4, even players that started off slow, you'd say Jimmy Butler, Giannis, they both looked pretty mediocre to not good their first, maybe second year. They were both all-stars by year 4. And
It usually shows some upward trajectory.
right, Lowry had a really slow trajectory, but like at least his assists were going up every year. There's nothing that I see that's going up from RJ. And I don't want to trash on RJ the whole time, but I think both sides need to meet somewhere in the middle. Like he's not the worst player ever, but we do have to accept the fact that he is not what we thought when we were drafting him 3rd.
He's also got to I don't know, rethink his game a little bit over the summer.
He needs to first of all, he needs to get better at finishing at the rim, but at least he draws contact and gets to the free throw line. And
Yes.
he's shooting better at the free throw line. Right now, that's the strongest part of his game.
Yeah, I mean that's true. If he can learn how to shoot the 3 a little bit better
And finish at the
and
rim
he
a
can play
little
some
better.
defense.
He needs to be able to take contact, finish at the rim, and get an end one instead of just getting contact, missing the shot, and then going for 2 free throws. Like,
and maybe the Knicks need to go he's a 25-minute a game guy, not a 35-minute a game guy, and we'll adjust until he earns more minutes. I don't know.
what does he do better than Hart?
I mean nothing. But
Nothing. Give Hart more of his minutes.
Anthony writes, "Are we a bad team doing good things or a good team doing bad things?" It's a good question.
They're a good team doing bad things. They're not a great team. They're a good team.
Yeah, I gotta see. In 2 years ago, they were a mediocre team that was overperforming. The Knicks deserve to be where they are right now in terms of the 5 seed and in the playoffs, but they're playing poorly. They're somewhere in the middle.
4th through 6th seed are good teams.
Yeah. Anthony writes, I think the biggest takeaway was the lack of ball movement. We didn't look good. The Knicks are a very ISO heavy team. I guess when you double team a lot with an ISO heavy team, that causes problems.
Yeah, when you ISO a lot against a really good defensive team and don't pass out of the ISO, you get in trouble. The Cavs are too good on defense to do that. There was Brunson did it a lot. He would, he's used to driving into the paint and getting a floater or a step back or something, but he's got Allen and Mobley now, so it's a lot tougher. There was another play where RJ dribbled it for 16 seconds and then took a fade away. That was not great. And Randall turned the ball over a bunch of times when he tried to drive. It was just bad.
By the way, IQ, I recall during these regular season we just watched, he was very good, very crafty, getting himself open, kind of like Jalen Brunson style.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like he could not even get an ounce of space against Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like basically no matter what he did, try to inside the paint to try to get himself open, whoever was defending him was basically like having sex with him. He was that close, basically. He was fornicating with IQ at all times because IQ could not get open.
The paint is going to be a lot more jammed up unless you get one of them in foul trouble. They don't have any backup big men.
They don't. Well, they have Rob. Yeah.
They're playing those guys 42, 44 minutes a game. Their backup is Dean Wade, who should be a small forward. So, when you guys attack, you got to get them into foul trouble. If not, it's really tough with that lineup, but it's really thin after that. So either get them in foul trouble or you got to start hitting your 3-point shots. Those are the two keys to winning the game.
Do you think Tibbs will give RJ Barrett the Isaac Okoro treatment at any point this series?
No, I don't. I think RJ's locked into 30 minutes no matter how bad he plays.
I feel like Tibbs will make some adjustments. Like Elfrid Payton no longer started in the Atlanta series.
Yeah.
I feel like depending on how this game goes, and he may have some adjustments for this game, I think he's going to make adjustments. Like, I don't think he's going to go to the same game plan the rest of the series.
I don't either, but, RJ minutes might go from like 40 to 30, but I still think he's going to play a lot.
Were you surprised though Okoro was out of the game that fast?
I was surprised. I know he got 2 quick fouls, but I figured he'd be back in the second quarter, and that was it for the whole game.
3 minutes.
Yeah, well, it's mostly because LeVert was going off the whole game.
Yeah, he was pretty good. State from Harlem writes, why does Randall have 11 turnovers and Grimes, Quickly, Obi, RJ all average under 15 points per? And why does nobody bring up the huge problems, a.k.a. Tibbs?
I feel like a lot of people are bringing up Tibbs.
I mean, you know what? You want to kill Tibbs? I don't know how much is Tibbs' fault that no one could hit a goddamn shot and the team looked unbelievably rattled. I guess you're supposed to get the team ready, but man, they all look rattled.
I mean, every single guy who played poorly. So I don't know what Tibbs is supposed to do. Dust off Rose, who hasn't played in like a month?
Yeah, you're not bringing anyone else new into the game. And whether maybe you give McBride minutes, I mean, I don't need your coach needs to tell you that you're being doubled. You need to pass the ball immediately. I guess you can tell that to Randall. You'd think Brunson would know that.
We'll see what happens next game. I mean, if Tibbs is a good coach, he'll have a game plan, and something different will happen.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
know,
if this,
we could start getting on Tibbs' case. Basketball is a chess match, and the Knicks made the first move, and the Cavs adjusted. Now it's the Knicks' turn to adjust. If they don't, we can start getting on Tibbs, but.
Yeah,
everyone played absolute garbage. I don't know what Tibbs is supposed to be like. Don't turn the ball over 17 times. Like, how is that's their fault. That's the player's fault.
Don't pass the ball to the other team. There was one Obi got they would pass the ball directly to the other team.
And as for all those other guys not scoring 15, it's because they don't hit shots. They all have touches. They all have looks. They're just nobody's hitting their shot.
Yeah, if anyone was stepping up, it's not like IQ played well and like Tibbs is like, you're only getting 23 minutes even though you're playing well. It's not like Grimes was like, wow, Grimes, you're really on, but only 22 minutes for you tonight. If any of those guys are playing well, RJ, whoever else's minutes will go down. Tibbs wants to win this game.
It took IQ 6 quarters to score a bucket.
Yeah. Daryl writes, do you think game 3 is the one that determines the winner overall? We can't serve that up again, surely, or can we?
You can.
So will game 3 decide the series?
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm not going to go that far, but you make it, especially from the Knicks side, you make it a lot tougher to win the series if you lose that home game, because now you got to steal another one in Cleveland. Most likely game 7 on the road.
I kind of think if the Knicks win game 3, it's still a series, and Knicks obviously have a good chance. Knicks lose game 3, the Knicks might fold.
I don't think they're going to fold, but I like I said, I just think it's going to be a lot harder to win that series.
I think after a game like this, when they basically beat the crap out of you, and you come back and you lose again, it's going to be really tough to get yourself off the ground and win this series.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not saying I would be really surprised if they lose. I agree with Daryl. I think this game decides the series.
Well, the Garden's going to be louder than it's been in probably a decade. So they're gonna have the whole state behind them. So we'll see what happens.
So what adjustments are you making, Jay? What adjustments? How are you going to adjust? You're going to have McBride play center?
No, I would play McBride more minutes if either RJ or Grimes is playing this poorly again. I would.
I guess if
McBride
that makes
more
sense.
Minutes. I would make it a goal to try and get either Mobley or Allen in foul trouble. They
I
don't.
like
There's no
that.
backups.
That makes
There's
sense.
no backups.
Yeah.
Like attack them the whole time, get a foul or two early, and try and just that would wreck their whole game plan. And
That
then
would
the
be
rest of it
huge.
is constant ball movement, swing the ball around, and take open threes. Except for RJ, never take a three again.
RJ's just like they hit him on open at the 3-point line. He just passes it back. Goes no. Remember, I don't get it here.
Yeah, no, RJ is going to be the one trying to get Allen and Mobley in foul trouble. Everyone else is going to try and shoot threes.
I was gonna say the best way to get them in foul trouble is a guy like RJ going hard to
Yeah,
the
RJ's
basket.
what 6'8". Like he's a big guy. Like
Big guy, yeah.
go in there, get draw some contact, get him in foul trouble.
So one thing they did in the game one was there was a bunch of points off of defense. Like I guess they got some steals. And there were also just points off of like turnover. I guess there was a little more fast break action.
Mm-hmm.
And in this game, Cleveland was able to get set on defense a lot more often. Knicks got to move the ball faster.
Yeah,
They got to pick up the pace.
Well, it's easier to go on fast breaks off of misses, and they were letting Cleveland hit every shot.
I didn't realize LeVert played. I'm just looking now.
40
that
minutes,
He played
yeah.
40 minutes.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, he played all of Okoro's minutes plus his normal minutes.
It's also everyone's giving Tibbs so much shit for playing guys too many minutes. Cleveland again played the big minutes 39, 35, 36, 39, and 40.
Mm-hmm.
5 guys played most of the minutes.
Yeah.
So
there's that too,
Yeah, maybe you shorten things up a little bit if guys can play well. Like I know you wanted to add McBride. Maybe you go to an 8-man rotation. If 8 guys, if RJ looks bad at first, he's done. Hart quickly and Grimes can just take the minutes.
I still like the 9-man rotation, but maybe even go to 10 with McBride. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a tricky thing to figure out. That's why we're not coaches. We are just dumb people with a dumb podcast.
I wouldn't be opposed to going to 10 and having McBride play 15 minutes and take 10 minutes off of either Barrett or Quickly if one of them is playing bad. Obviously, don't do that if they look different than Tuesday.
I mean, one big thing last game was the Knicks rebounded Cleveland by 20 rebounds. This game, they were out rebounded by Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
The rebounding and the turnovers and the playing better basketball is a big thing for us.
So if you want to leave us a voicemail, the number is 516-584-4112. And if you want to email us, the New York Knicks podcast at gmail.com. And if you want to connect with us anywhere else on social media, it's NY Knicks Podcast. That's on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Twitch is twitch.tv/crumpledbacon, and YouTube is youtube.com/TITOWAJ.
I did feel like the Knicks did not come out with the defensive fire they came out with in game one. I think that mattered also.
Yeah, I don't know if they got cocky or they got thrown off by how aggressive Cleveland was being, but something definitely looked different in game two.
Like in game one, early on, Randall was helping do double teams. It seemed like the Knicks were doing doubling. In game two, I didn't really see a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, I have confidence that they're gonna adjust and look like a different team on Friday.
Please tell me they will, Jay. When do I go to the ledge? If they lose game 3, do I go to the ledge?
Well, we have our meetup on for game 5 on Wednesday. So
where's the meetup, Jay?
it's gonna be at Stout in Manhattan. So send us a message on any of those places I just said, and let me know if you're coming or not, because I'm gonna reserve a table or two this week, and I need to know how many people are coming. So
if the Knicks are down 3-1, I will just be standing on the ledge during the game.
okay. So yeah. I mean,
Okay, let's do some pause. What things are going to happen in game 3? How's this going to turn around? Forget the strategy. What big game? Who's going to step up in game 3?
Brunson.
Brunson's going to play a lot better, right? It's going to be a
Of
big
course.
Brunson game.
Of course. Brunson's going to play a lot better.
Hart's going to play. Hart, who was the MVP of game 1, is going to be back to Hart. He has a bunch of days off.
Yeah,
like
he had a
Tuesday to
gimpy
Friday.
ankle.
He should be better.
Yeah, his ankle will be better. So you got two guys, Mitch and iHeart. They'll hold it down. It'll be good.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have an okay Grimes game. Quickly, will come back from the dead.
One of those guys is gonna Quickly or Grimes. That's all the Knicks really need is one of RJ, Quickly, and Grimes to have a very good game.
Yeah.
Right?
They
Like,
need
they
one of
don't
these
need a
guys to get
ton.
like 20 points for us.
Yeah, they don't need a ton. They just need a couple guys to play efficiently. Because, I mean, even game 1, it's not like Quickly or RJ played good and they still won. Like, they just need somebody else to play decent and they're going to win the series.
They need, I mean, I was watching game 2. One thing I was thinking during game 2 was like, wow, it'd be pretty nice if before game 3 they could trade for Donovan Mitchell because they really could use a guy that just hits shots for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think Cleveland will do a trade for Donovan Mitchell before what do we have to offer before game 3?
Hey, you want all these guys that are just not hitting any of their shots and also playing poor defense?
What if we're willing to do RJ for Mitchell now? It was just, I mean, I really was just like, wow, the Knicks really could use a guy who just hits, like when everyone else is bad, this dude could just knock down some shots and keep us in game. And it's supposed to be Brunson, but they could use another dude that would take Barrett's job to do that.
Rob is still glad they didn't trade for Mitchell.
Um,
I don't know how good they would be if they traded Mitch, RJ, Grimes, and Obi, and then like 5 draft picks, which is I think what Ainge's offer was.
that's a pretty goddamn big package. There's got to be a way that you can upgrade this roster with all your draft picks without having to, like, it still thinks this team, like, even if they lose to Cleveland in the first round, hopefully they'll beat Cleveland. You had a team that's the 5 seed, a lot of guys who are playing well and young who are getting better. You have a bunch of draft picks. There's got to be a way to upgrade this roster.
Yeah, use some of the draft picks. Stop giving
Yeah,
them,
yeah,
stop
yeah.
trading them.
A trade RJ, Obi, and a bunch of draft picks. There's got to be someone you can get who'll be better than RJ, or keep RJ. I don't. We're screwed.
Let's just focus on Friday. The Knicks are going to win. Then this will all just seem like a minor blip in the series.
Knicks, you could win my son over for life if you win this game. Let's do it.
There you go. All right, we will be back on I guess Monday to recap Game 3.
Yes.
So thanks for listening.
And we promise if the Knicks win Game 3, we'll have an overreaction in the other direction.
Right. So
We are only about overreactions without any sense of the bigger picture.
exactly. So thanks for joining the chat, Rob. We will talk to you all on Monday.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go.
This is the end.
Say goodbye. You better go away.
I'm gonna leave you.
It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone.
Feels so good to say goodbye.
I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl.
Goodbye, 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 everybody.
All right. Well, could have been worse.
What's up?
Could have been worse.
What's up?
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying not to overreact because, like, it was one game.
I know. I was trying to overreact. That's just what I do. I don't know. I don't know. It was a really, really tough game.
It was really bad. It was really bad.
It was really, I mean, it's just one game. I guess my thought really is if they lost a game where they're competitive, it's fine. I expect like splitting in in Cleveland, that's great. That's your goal. It's just when you get beaten so badly as you would. I mean, I guess they only lost by 17 points, but it could have been 30. And everyone looked so bad last night. You're like, you just forget, like, can this team figure out how to win in a game again? And I
Well,
know they can.
a lot of people were talking about the Knicks Pacers series from the Melo era, and the Pacers won game one, and then the Knicks stomped them in game two, and then the Pacers won in six. So
Yeah.
you're saying maybe this is like the opposite of that.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be it's just a good example of like what happens in one game doesn't really speak to the whole series.
So Rob said every game I went to was a loss, and weren't most of Mark's games losses too?
The last game I went to was the game the last game I took my son to was the Dallas game when we lost by 30. But the Knicks played really well after that. The last game I actually went to the Milwaukee game where the Knicks lost to Milwaukee. Most of my games are losses, so this is a great chance to turn this shit around. I did go to the Nets game where the Knicks beat the Nets by like 30. That was the last game I went to this season.
There you go.
So there you go.
All right. Talk to you soon, Rob. Thanks for joining.
Is Rob going to the game on Friday?
I don't think so. Is Rob going to the meetup on Wednesday? He got game 4, the one we were supposed to go to.
Yeah. Well, that would have been a problem anyway. We have a celebratory lunch for my mother-in-law's 70th birthday. So I have to go to that, tape the game, and watch the game after. Because I want the Knicks to win, but I also like to stay married, so I have to do the mother-in-law thing first, and then watch the game.
Good thing you accidentally bought tickets for game 3 instead of 4 then.
Yeah, like I told my wife, I was like, well, what if I had bought the? She's like, well, then you would have just had to get rid of those tickets. And I was like, well, good thing good thing this is not the moot point, basically.
All right. Unfortunately, Rob can't go to the meetup. So.
Okay, no worries.
All right.
Are you closing the room?
Yep. Close.